Hey everybody. So here goes. This project was a first of its kind. I knew what I wanted to do in my head, but it was just kind of going for it, just winging it. It is a bent wood and epoxy sun wall hanging, kind of intended to be, if someone wanted a floating headboard. It's sized to go above a queen size bed, so like the width is the same width of a queen size bed. Used some 1/2 inch plywood that I had laying around, and used my fancy little tongue and groove router bits to glue a couple pieces together there. Giving it a scorch with the torch. Many uses with the torch, and you can see in the foreground there is my bending jig. I just took an old torch and kind of bent it to sit in front of my good torch so that it heats up that torch head, the pipe, and makes it so I can bend wood over it. Getting more of a consistent background here. I don't know why I wanted a black background. I just thought black and walnut should look pretty good and not have too much of that wood grain pattern shining through the epoxy, because I knew it wasn't going to be too thick. Here's my basic layout. The ideas I had in my head. And now I'm ripping down the pieces to be a consistent width with this old Craftsman bandsaw. It's kind of a beginner's bandsaw, like probably one that your grandpa had. Not the best. One of these days I'll upgrade, but for now it's getting me by. And as you can see, I'm having trouble. It doesn't have a fence, so I was using just some blocks of wood and gluing them down to create a fence. But sometimes the blade doesn't cut straight, so you have to angle it a little bit, and that's me just tweaking this in to get it just right, make things a little bit easier for me. But funny thing, this bandsaw was giving me all kinds of trouble that day, and at one point one of the wheels almost came completely off of its spindle. I'm glad I caught that before it just like blew up on me. But I got these pieces ripped down, so I basically doubled the pieces that I had to work with, and they don't stick out too far. Just kind of random shapes, bent shapes. I didn't spend too much time worrying about like, oh, this one has to be bent just so much, or no, I was just going for kind of a consistent, somewhat randomness. And the soaking in water and then using heat over a hot pipe to bend, that discolors the wood quite a bit. So that's why I am Sanding them down, this is my least favorite part of the process. It's just time consuming and boring. So turn on some good tunes and jam out to make it as tolerable as possible. That's what I'm doing here. And then to fasten them to the backer board, I was just using Type Bond 2, I think, and taking a little roller and putting it on one edge and then placing each piece, which was not a very efficient way to do this. I learned later that if you just dump a bunch of glue out on a flat surface on an old table or something, you can just dab each piece and then place it right back where you had it. Then you don't like lose your place. It's much faster, much easier than what I was doing here. Epoxy time. I did multiple pours. I probably ended up doing like 6, give or take, pours of epoxy on this to get the color just right and get the mix just right to where it looked like the rays of the sunshine and the sky blue kind of blended and mixed properly. But some wildness, some randomness was totally fine. I just jumped right in and used my bare hand. I don't know how big of a deal that is. So far, so good. It doesn't really bother me. And it's just fast. I don't really like wearing those rubber gloves or latex gloves. It just makes everything even more messy. I don't know. I just don't like it. So I just jump right in, use my hands, use chopsticks, skewers, what have you, whatever I've got laying around, and just kind of getting a even thickness and getting it to mix. At first, I did not have a border on here, and so I just was letting the epoxy drip right off the edge, which made a mess, but that's just how I roll. So I'll clean it up later, is usually my philosophy. And there's the finished product. Used a French cleat to hang on the wall above our couch there, and I'm really happy with it. I love it. And so does my daughter here. Thanks. See ya.